For more news from a Catholic perspective, visit EWTNnews.com. Take Two with Jerry and Debbie starts now.
Good day to you. It's Take Two with Jerry and Debbie on EWTN Radio. Should say Take Two with Jerry and Debbie and you. We're looking forward to you being a part of another great program. Today we're going to be talking about things that are in the news. If you have something you want to comment on, you are welcome to do that right now, 833-288-3986. And Debbie, we welcome any news stories that people want to comment on and how it's kind of impacted them, if at all. But we're also looking kind of for those hidden gems, you know, those local, regional things that get reported in the news that maybe the rest of us have not heard about yet.
That's true. That is so true. There's things that are happening right in your own neighborhood that we want to hear about because we want to be part of that. We're a family. So we need you to call in and share with us what's going on in the news in your local area. Or if you want to bring up something that's, headline news, that's fine as well. The number to dial is 833-288-3986. There's open phone lines right now, but they fill up very quickly, so now's the time to get in. But I just want to say, Jerry, prayers go out to everybody that is just, trying to survive and get through these storms, these winter storms. I understand it just came across the news feed. Over 2 million folks in Texas have zero electricity right now because of the winter storms. 2 million people. That's a lot. We need to pray. And these storms are just coming in. It's strange weather is happening right now. We really need to pray for the entire world, but our country that is dealing with it right now. Sure.
One more among many things that are really weighing on a lot of people. 833-288-EWTN. 833-288-3986. Obviously, the big news over the weekend was the end of the impeachment trial, the acquittal of former President Trump. But I have to say, Debbie, I don't know if this was national news or just on a regional station in my area, but you've heard of those 3D printers? Have you?
The 3D, you mean those laser printers? Those things?
Well, you can actually print things in 3 dimensions, and so they they found a way to make a steak that you cook using a 3D printer. And I thought, now there's something I'm never going to order on the menu.
And how does that work out?
I'm not really even sure. If anyone knows how 3D printers work, please call up and educate us on that.
Is this a joke?
No. Let me look it up.
Oh my goodness. That's interesting. Here I'm looking up storms and all sorts of things, and you're looking up 3D printers.
Yeah, that make steaks. It says 3D printed plant-based steak is here.
Oh, plant-based. Okay. Plant-based.
But it looks exactly like a steak.
Yeah. Well, that they can make it look that way. May not taste that way. Oh my goodness, that is interesting. And I was looking at the news, not to start anything, but what's happening in New York. Governor Cuomo being accused of that nursing home death count. It's just really sad, just so sad. I with my mom being in a care facility, it just breaks my heart. I can't even imagine, when there was resources there that could help the elderly. And if in fact that is, what really happened, that is just, it's tragic, Jerry, to think that those, beautiful senior citizens were really trapped in their homes and they were going to just get, COVID and die. So this nursing home scandal, it's horrible right now.
It is. It's very, very sad, and I know how that hits you home. Hits home for you very much so with your mother, like you said. So we need to be praying for. Really, let's pray for all of the deceased, especially those still suffering from the virus, the pandemic. Let's pray for an end to it, whatever an end might mean. And our producer, Michael Birchfield, says they have confectionery 3D printers that combine the ingredients and print it like cupcakes. So I'm not the only one who's heard about that.
Is that without the calories?
I don't know. You may be onto something there.
Oh my goodness. Wow, this is interesting. Well, happy day after St. Valentine's Day. We know it's a President's Day, and things are closed and people are still on an extended little vacay, but we want to hear from you guys. This is In the News show. It's a very popular show. And we'd like to see what's on your mind and your heart of what's, traveling through the news cycles. So please call in at 833-288-3986. You do not have to be Catholic to call in. We just want to talk about things and see if we can, kind of just change the world a bit with these conversations and maybe change ourselves a little bit and grow closer to God. But we need your help. You can also text us. You can also comment on social media, YouTube or Facebook, or you can email us. So whichever way you want to do that, that's fine with us. We just want to hear from you. Right, Jerry? That's
right. Yeah, maybe something newsworthy was that you had a fantastic Valentine's Day yesterday, and you want to share that with us. How was your beloved? How did your beloved treat you yesterday? Hopefully it was a great day. Debbie, I know Marty always goes all out for you on Valentine's Day and the the month of your birthday and things like that.
It's every month. Every month. No, he's great. He's great. Yes, he was wonderful, and it's been a really relaxing weekend, so which is good. And we hope that that's the way it is for you as well. So please, our phone lines are just starting to light up. There's plenty of time to call in. We'd love to hear your voice. Just share with us what's going on in your neck of the woods. We want to hear about that. And I think I might have, I want to make sure I stated it correctly. I just saw the news headlines. It says Governor Cuomo accused of nursing home death count cover-up. So it's very interesting. This is a story that's unfolding. It's tragic. So if in fact any of this plays out to be true, we need to really pray for folks, because this is not good how we are treating the elderly. And we're all going to get there. Jerry, we're all going to get there. So we have to start treating our seniors with the proper respect. I think so.
I agree. Well, speaking of something COVID related, the churches here in California have been, for a number of months, outside masses only, limited to 100 people attending. And one of the parishes that I have attended many times has, the church can seat like 1,800 people. So they've been having outdoor masses at 100 max. But we got that Supreme Court ruling that allowed us to go back inside. So I was inside the church for Mass yesterday. That was really, really fantastic. So thanks for all the prayers for that. Our faith is so important to us. We gotta stay strong. 833-288-3986. What is in the news that you want to discuss?
All my life, I was searching for something that seemed to be just one step away. Perfect soulmate, the ideal job, that big adventure. And just when I thought I found what I was missing, I realized that I was never really fulfilled. Then I discovered what I was searching for was really faith in God and belonging to a church. You can find what you've been searching for too. Come and see at CatholicsComeHome.com.
The EWTN home video highlight for February is Lourdes with the Franciscan Missionaries of the Eternal Word. Go on pilgrimage with Father Joseph Mary Wolfe and Father John Paul Mary Zeller to the healing waters of Lourdes, where Saint Bernadette first encountered Our Lady and where all are now called to conversion. Order your DVD set at EWTNRC.com 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or call 1-800-854-6316.
Are you able to stand tall, knowing God's purpose and plan for your life and living that out? Many people need a little assistance in getting to that point. That's why there's Stand Tall Life Coaching. Our growing team of certified coaches can assist you in dreaming big and living your best life. Learn more today and sign up for your free consultation at StandTallToday.com. That's StandTallToday.com.
show that we do on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. We do this once a month, so we want to fill up the phone lines and have a very vibrant discussion about what's going on in the news. But real quickly, I just wanted to highlight a beautiful item that I think you may really love, and it'll become part of your spiritual life. It's a Lourdes rosary. It's white and blue pearls. Absolutely gorgeous. This rosary has a heart-shaped centerpiece with water from Lourdes and a beautiful image of the Blessed Mother. It also features a Lourdes Chapel crucifix and 7 millimeters white and blue pearlized glass beads. So it's beautiful. It's kind of iridescent looking. It's gorgeous. The crucifix and center are made of pewter, and it's made in the USA. Love that. It's available now at EWTNRC.com, and it's free standard shipping, online orders of $75 or more, and that's for the continental United States only. So use the code FREE, F-R-E-E, at checkout. So just go to EWTNRC.com. Just go through the whole site. You will love it. Every time I go there, I order something, and it's wonderful. But this Lourdes Rosary, Jerry, is absolutely beautiful. I love those blue and white beads.
Yeah, EWTNRC is kind of like the Amazon of Catholic stuff. Anything you're looking for. Bibles, books, DVDs, religious articles, statuaries, holy cards, medals, anything you're ever looking for, go to EWTNRC.com. Thanks for letting us know about that rosary.
Yeah, and our book is there too, Trustful Surrender. So please, if you can get our book, that would be great as well. That's at EWTNRC.com. Okay, we have open phone lines. We need to hear from you. This is in the news. Come on, you guys. Don't keep going on with your 3-day weekend. We need your help. 833-288-3986. You can comment on anything. Lori was first up in Denver, Colorado. Listening on Catholic Radio Network, is a first-time caller. Hi, Lori. Welcome.
Hi, Debbie. How are you?
Great. How are you?
I'm good. I wanted to comment. I just was listening to you, and you were talking about the tragedy of the nursing home scandal up in New York. And I would like to point out that this really is more than just a scandal. It was more than just a thoughtless situation that Governor Cuomo kind of perpetrated on the people. It really is more akin to euthanasia, if you really stop and think about it. They were sent to their deaths. And so I want to point that out because I feel like it's part of the leftist agenda to reduce the population because I believe that they feel that the humanity is a scourge on their Mother Earth, so to speak. And that's the point that I'd like to make, that this is really more sinister than just a mistake or a bad decision or a bad idea that somebody had.
Yeah. I'll go first, Lori. Thanks for calling. It's more than an oops, right? Is what you're saying. It's and I tend to agree with you. I mean, if we look at the demographics of who have suffered the most under this pandemic, it is certainly the elderly, it's minorities, people of color. And I have often wondered the same thing. And, of course, in the New York situation, I think Governor Cuomo, it's also been pointed out that he wanted the people out of the hospitals and back in the nursing homes because they don't make as much money, the hospitals don't, when there are people taking up the beds there where they would otherwise be paid by insurance companies. So I think Lori might be onto something here, Debbie.
Yeah, and I have to tell you, Lori, I mean, I'm not judging or anything. We have to wait to see how this plays out. But if in fact that's the case, that these people were sent back to these nursing homes. I was sharing with Jerry and our producer Michael Birchfield on the break right before we came back on. I said, if my mother, we grew up in New Jersey, and my mother could have easily been one of those, seniors that went back to the nursing home. I don't know what I would have done. It's so upsetting to think about when there were other resources there, like the ships that were there and all these other things. And if in fact this does play out and it does have some hidden agenda or some political motivations, I don't know, but the whole thing just makes me sick to my stomach. I have to be honest with you, because those the thing about the elderly, and if anybody is a caregiver and you're listening right now, you know this, okay? They're helpless. They depend on the people around them that they trust and they love.
They're kind of like little children, right?
Exactly. Exactly. And it breaks my heart to think that they were sent back to their death. And knowing, I mean, this should have never happened. If in fact this does play out that way, God help everybody that was involved in it, because I don't know. I wouldn't want to, I'm not judging, but I wouldn't want to be them on Judgment Day. I'm just saying, because I think that is horrible to do when you know that they were going, if in fact you knew they were going to their death. But let's see how it plays out, but, it's all over the news right now, and I don't know, how this is going to, what they're going to find or what they're going to really disclose to us. What do you think?
Right, exactly, what they're going to disclose to us. But I think that the writing is all there on the wall, and I hope that people will wake up to this and see it, and realize what we have really gotten ourselves into and what we really need to, Christians and people of all faiths need to come together, I think, at this point and work to undo the damage that we have voted in, if you will.
Yeah, speaking of voting them in, things like this so often get politicized. It becomes a partisan thing. Mm-hmm. This is totally nonpartisan. In fact, the little coverage I've seen on this, Democrats in the state of New York and even nationwide are joining Republicans and joining, regular citizens and everybody, and just, kind of crying, screaming out about this situation. So this is way above partisan politics. This is something that, like Debbie, you said, this should never, ever be done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we do have to stick together. I'm sorry?
Mm-hmm.
Say
I
again,
was just
Lori?
going to say that I was just going to say that I hope that he's right, that it's nonpartisan. But really, we have, this is a situation that now the people need to manage, I think, at this point.
Well, I mean,
those are just my thoughts.
But Lori, before you go, let me just share something, because let's stay on this topic for a second about the elderly. Okay, let's face it, we don't treat our seniors and the elderly well. I know, because my mother has been in at 3 different care homes in the past 11 years. And what I've seen with my own eyes, I wouldn't put a dog in there. I have to be honest with you. And it's absolute, the way, it's horrible. And I'm telling you, I had the best of the best. It's not like, it's not like it's something that is a state-run facility or anything. These are private facilities that are beautiful. Now she's in a beautiful private home, which is amazing. But prior to that, I remember coming one time, I used to see her every day. I remember coming one time, my mother was in the middle of a community room, a living room, and they left her there in the middle of the room in her wheelchair. They left her there. And I came up and I said, "Mom, what are you doing in the middle of the room?" She goes, "They didn't come back and get me." And she was crying, and I literally almost came unglued. I'm telling you, it takes everything for me. I would, and I'm not trying to paint this all with one, broad brush. I know there's great facilities. I know that, and I know a lot of the caregivers are phenomenal, but everybody has to be honest with this. It's a tough job. It's really, it can be a lot of stress, and it's not the best care always. Okay, I want to be careful about that, because I know we'll get a lot of caregivers that'll call up and say, "I do a great job," and I know there's a lot of people that put their heart and soul into it. But you have to admit, there's a lot of people that are doing it, and it's really. It's a tough job, and you have to really love the souls that you're caring for to really treat them with dignity and respect. What do you think, Lori?
I think you're absolutely right. I know my mother is on hospice, Now, fortunately, she is living with my sister, who is a hospice nurse herself. But for a moment there, we thought that we were going to have to put my mother in a home, and my mom cried. My mother never cries. So we immediately, my sister ixnayed that very quickly and came up with another idea. So yes, but I think that in general, we just have got to respect our elderly. We need to get back to respecting God, respect our elderly, respect our children, respect pregnant women, all of it across the board. We need to have a return to pro-life values.
Absolutely. Yeah, I just jotted a note down. Lori said we need to get back to a proper understanding of the dignity of the human person. That's where it starts, of course, in the womb, and we're talking here about the elderly near the end of their lives as well. Thank you, Lori. Anything else before we let you go?
No, I appreciate your taking my call, and it's been great talking with you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for calling. We appreciate that. Who's next on the telephone line there? We have a line open, 833-288-EWTN. Maybe you want to comment on that scandal that goes beyond scandal, as Lori said, with the nursing home issue in New York. 833-288-3986. It's in the news. Hard to avoid the news. We've got a 24-hour news cycle, so there must be something on your heart or your mind that you want to talk about.
Mm-hmm. You know, this is a wonderful opportunity for you to get right in and to be on the air, and we can talk. And this is a wonderful time. So don't hesitate. If you wait any longer, you may not. It may take a few minutes. So dial in right now if you feel the prompting of the Spirit. 833-288-3986, and we can talk about things that are in the news in your local area, regional area, or statewide or national or, world news. Let's talk about that. There's so many things happening, Jerry. It's almost difficult to stay caught up. It's just like it unfolds every few minutes, and it's, I love technology where everything is coming at us really quickly and we're learning about things, but with that comes added stress, wouldn't you say?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, you watch any newscast, whether it's the so-called mainstream news or so-called conservative news. At the start of every show, it's this bong and this bell sounds and this sound effect, breaking news. I mean, it's like there's breaking news every, like you said, 15 minutes. And I guess it's really true. But I want to, real quickly, if you don't mind, I wanted to talk a little bit more of this idea of the dignity of the human person for this reason. The media.
Please do.
Yeah, the media have, I think, a blind spot here because abortion is legal in this country, and we're headed toward possibly euthanasia. There's already physician-assisted suicide in many places, and so it would be outside of their scope or their mission for them to take this on as an issue of the dignity of the human person. I think so many news outlets simply have to handle this differently than they should, differently than Lori would, our previous caller, differently I think than you and I would. I think they simply have a difficult time reporting this accurately.
Talk a little bit more about that. Share a little bit more. I want to just see if that prompts people to call in.
Well, yeah, I mean, they are very, very swift and grandiose in their coverage of people who are pro-abortion and people who do all kinds of scandalous things that the society accepts. And yet society doesn't have a clue in many cases about the real inherent dignity of the human person, the God-given dignity that each one of us possesses. So when you have a story like this, you have Lori, who is clear thinking, sane, a sane take on this, and a really, I think, an important insight into this that the mainstream media, for the most part, I just don't think is going to pick up on.
Well, wouldn't you say, though, that the mainstream media, the reason why they are, negligent in this area is because, you have to bring in God on some level, right? And
right.
So, well, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen. I mean, we're at a place now where everybody's trying their hardest to push God away. And it's mind-boggling when you think about it. Why? What's the harm in bringing God into it, right?
Right.
I guess the harm is you have to challenge your own, thinking, or your own, your own behavior, which is maybe that's it. Maybe that's just what the problem is. I don't know. I'm
Well,
talking out loud, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, it just doesn't fit their narrative of reality in the world, doesn't fit their agenda. And really, it's not just the media. I'm not just picking on the media here. It's academia and, entertainment and so many areas of our lives, entertainment, that have basically told God to stay out, and he is the author of life. He is the author of the gifts. He's the giver of the gifts that actors and actresses have, and musicians and teachers and doctors and nurses and everyone. And when you don't include God in that, you are basically, you're chopping yourself off at the knees, if I can put it that way. You're going to be at such a tremendous disadvantage in utilizing those gifts that God has given you, I think.
Right. You talk about Hollywood and celebrities. That's another thing that bothers me. I mean, no offense, there's a lot of good celebrities out there, but I'm so tired of hearing, well, celebrities say this. Like, who made them the experts? And why are we listening to them? Anyway, let's talk about It's in the News. That's what Take Two's all about. 833-288-3986. Please call us. We want to hear your voice.
Jerry Usher, Dr. Ray Guarendi, Father Benedict Rochelle. You'll hear the leading Catholic voices on the largest Catholic media network in the world. This is the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.
Brothers and sisters, what's God trying to teach you through this time? Resistance is how you build muscle. If there's resistance on your bicep, through curls, you'll get a nice big bicep. This is resistance put upon all of us. This is a time of struggle, of trial. But our loving God and Father has a plan to bring us through this better than when we started this. This time will pass, make no mistake about it. Even if it leads to a Great Depression, there will come a time where you look back at this and say, it's over. My question to you is, how is God calling you to grow in this time? And what are you doing to be intentional about not letting this pass by, but engaging in that spiritual battle, engaging in the way that he wants you to grow? Think of that. So you could look back at this time that passed and see a new virtue and beauty in you that has not passed. God bless you.
For more, text Chris at 44144. This is Chris Stefanik on EWTN Radio.
Now, here's today's quote from Mother Angelica's perpetual calendar. I want you to have a new concept of holiness. You've got to be holy where you are. Washing dishes, at the office, at school, wherever you are. You can be holy there. Mother Angelica's perpetual calendar features an inspirational message for each day of the year. It's available from the EWTN Religious Catalog at EWTNRC.com.
Hi, this is Cy Kellett. First hour today on Catholic Answers Live, we ask about problems with feminism. Second hour, we discuss renewing Catholic schools. Catholic Answers Live, 6 p.m. Eastern on EWTN Radio. Now, back to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Well, we're grateful that you're here, part of the Take Two family. I'm Jerry Usher, along with Debbie Georgiani and you. We have our producer, Michael Birchfield, running the controls. Jeff Burson is normally our social media guy. I think he is on the job today, if I'm not mistaken. Ryan Penny screens your calls at 833-288-3986. We're just talking about things that are in the news. What caught your eye? Maybe it was something really odd, weird, unusual, unique, and maybe exclusive to your part of the country or the world where you live. Or maybe it was one of the big, mainstream stories that are out there right now. In either case, it's 833-288-3986. Let's go to Kathleen in New York next, listening on the Station of the Cross. First time calling the program. Hi, Kathleen.
Hi. I just wanted to say some comments about the woman who was speaking about nursing homes. I always believed it was a gift from God that I was able to outreach to the elderly. I work in a nursing home, and there is a lot of restraints on staff, lack of staffing, and also the amount of paperwork and tasks that have to be done instead of getting back to spending the time with the elderly, and that's what everybody I know that works with me are there for. And there are, as I said, good nursing homes out there who are really caring for the nursing home. I believe every nurse has always, when you were growing up, they said, what did you want to be? Some people said, I want to be a doctor. Some people said, I want to be a nurse. And the reason they did that was to help people. And you find out that once you're in a situation that you are working to be with the elderly and spend the time to hold their hands and listen to them, especially in COVID, we need a lot more prayers for them. This is supposed to be the best time of their lives, spent with engaging in quality of life and making their lives the best they can be. And now they have a lot of restraints in nursing homes where they cannot have families in, and lack of visitation. They can only have a certain amount of one-on-one activities. They can't have group activities. So, I know that there is a bad stigma for nursing homes, but there's a lot of people that are just there caring and loving and taking the place of the family members who can't come in. And I think that there's a lot of press out there that, see the negative instead of really the wonderful things that they are doing. But I think that I just wanted to make a comment that we really need prayers for everyone, that we're doing the best we can in this society that has changed in our COVID world. That's really just what I wanted to comment on today.
Right. Well, Kathleen, thank you so much for the work that you do. It's a vocation, you can tell as you're speaking about it. And you're exactly the person that I was talking about when I said there's some great, wonderful, nurses and staff that help with the elderly. And you're that person, okay? And that is beautiful. And God bless you for your work. You're incredible. I will tell you, though, I have to be really honest with you. My mother was in 3 very fine facilities, and all 3 she was not treated well, and so and also were her neighbors along on the same floor as her, because exactly what you just said, they were understaffed. And they were stretched beyond, it was unbelievable what they had to endure. So I think that pressure changes people on how, you are a beautiful soul and God bless you for the work you do. But when you have, staffing issues or a major turnover all the time and new people coming in and people are uptight because they're not getting their days off and they're working double shifts and all kinds of things, or they're working on floors that they're maybe not fully trained for, that can be rough. And my mother was the recipient of really bad behavior. And I'm talking fine facilities, very expensive, the most expensive in Arizona. So, it's not like they say you get what you pay for, right? Well, we paid for it and, it was shocking. So I guess my point is, would you agree that people need to do their research? Maybe really kind of investigative research on the facility when they're putting their loved one there to make sure that there's not a lot of turnover, that there's people like Kathleen's there. And that's wonderful. What do you say about that? And I'm not trying to disagree with you. I'm just saying my mother went through some pretty horrific things at the facilities that she was in.
Yes, and I do agree. And I think it's very sad that you've had to experience that, especially your mother who was supposed to be there again for quality of life. I do believe that you are correct, and it's very hard to do that research or go in and see a tour now that we're in a COVID world where they can't come in and take a tour, and they can't. But, I feel very sad that you've had those experiences. And again, especially feeling that this is a state-of-the-art nursing home. But there are people that are just, it said the restraints are a little different now, and there's so much good being done, but people may not necessarily see it. You saw some experiences that you didn't like, and I said I believe that there are places that do not have the high standards that most do, and that is sad also. But I agree that we just need a total, what do I want to say, is an out view of nursing homes, that they receive bad stigmas right from the beginning. And then there are the restraints of constantly doing paperwork, constantly having to be in meetings, where it should be the reason why we all started in healthcare and to begin with was to be with the elderly, to provide compassionate care, to provide compassionate touch, to provide that listening ear, hold a hand, support, and provide fun and laughter and enjoyment, because these are the last years. And this is, no one has on their bucket list they want to live in a nursing home. But when they know, most people understand why they're there. And again, we've changed into this time, and we really need to change back to have more focus on the residents.
Well, God bless you, Kathleen. I agree with Debbie. There are a lot of folks just like you out there. They sometimes don't get the attention, or they just, people don't see that. They might see the negative more than the positive. We did a show on this a couple of years ago, Debbie. You'll remember how our elderly are treated in care facilities. And it was a little bit of a surprise to me that on virtually every call, it was unanimously, overwhelmingly critical of what people's experiences had been. And I know that you were touching on this, Kathleen, that so many factors go into selecting a facility, and you can't really just go in, take a tour, and see everything. Yeah, and because of COVID, but even before COVID, take COVID out of the equation. Just going in, taking a tour is not going to really tell you what life is like in there until it's experienced. I mean, if you're selling a house, your house isn't going to look the way it does when you live in it, when you're staging it to sell it. So it's unfortunate. Yeah, go ahead, Kathleen.
Well, we just need your prayers. I think that the world is changing, and I think that we also have fundraisers for cancer patients, which is wonderful, and believe me, near and dear to my heart. We also have for Leukemia Society, and there's so many things, but we never think about the focus on being with the elderly and, have volunteerism and having people come in and spend some time, especially children as they're learning and growing, to be kind and to reciprocate to being in a world of providing quality of life for each other, and kindness and supportiveness and empathy. Those are things that you can't sometimes teach. You have to learn, and you have to see and through experiences.
Right.
But I think it all starts with all of us focusing on that just because they're elderly, that they're not important, or they have nothing to give, or that they receive an undignified world. This is where our focus needs to be. Those are the people that paved the way before us. Those are the people that are, if you look back into people of different countries, the elderly are treated like gods in a godly way, because they have the most knowledge, before the most wisdom. But that doesn't seem like that in the United States. We don't put that priority to make them to feel that way, I think, sometimes.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. I was looking at other countries and how they treat their the older population, and it's amazing. You're absolutely correct. They turn to them for wisdom and guidance, and they value their existence. And we don't seem to do that here. Kathleen, I'm just going to share this again. You're in it as a vocation. It's as clear as a bell to me. And I just want to say, I wish I could bottle you up and send you around to every care home in the world, because you're exactly what I wanted for my mom. You're exactly it. And so God bless you for the work you're doing. And I hope you can inspire, the others that you work with, to be at that level, that you're really taking it as your purpose and mission. I think it's wonderful. And I just pray for you many blessings here and for all of eternity, because I really think what you're doing is needed, and it's appreciated by all of us family members, because that's what we wanted for our parents. We wanted our parents to be treated the way we would treat them if we were able to take them in our homes, and so thank you for the work you do. What do you think, Jerry?
Well, thank you for listening to me today, and I just wish and ask for your prayers going forward for all the elderly in nursing homes and the caregivers.
You've got that, Kathleen. The entire Take Two family around the world will absolutely be keeping you in our prayers. Thank you for the phone call, and please call the show again anytime. We'd love to have you with us. Susan sent an email at take2@ewtn.com. There was a story locally near her area of a young man who was killed after being hit by a snowmobile while he was ice fishing this past weekend. So the family is in need after losing him with funeral expenses and so forth. He and his wife have 2 small children. So his name was Michael. Please pray for Michael, the repose of his soul, and also for the comfort and consolation and provision for his wife and 2 small children.
Yes, and don't forget to read Helen's email as well, because she comments about how we treat our seniors. Okay, Jerry,
Okay.
let's not forget that too, because Helen wrote in. But we do have full phone lines, so we'll go back. And I just want to apologize, folks. I just want to say this. I mean, I'm very transparent. Jerry knows. I mean, what you see is what you get. My mom's been through a lot, and my mother is like a saint. Anybody who knows my mom, she's amazing. And she's been through a lot. I mean, she was left with blunt force traumas to the face. I mean, all sorts of things that were horrific. And it was out of our control, and thank goodness I was able to, swiftly, get her out of places. So I am a little bitter about that part, but I do want to stay hopeful and be optimistic about, things changing in nursing facilities and care homes. I think that we can, everything's possible if we have the mindset like Kathleen. She's spot on. It's so beautiful the way she approaches other souls. So anyway, I just wanted to share that because there's a lot of history with my mom in 10 years with these places. And my mom has dementia, so it's a tough situation. When you have dementia, you can't necessarily take them in your home, for various reasons. Anyway,
Right.
It's a long story, but Jerry, you know it, and so you know where my heart is.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, David is in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, listening today on the EWTN app. Hi, David. Welcome to Take Two.
Thank you. I'm glad to be able to talk to y'all. I saw this article this morning in the Catholic News Agency magazine, I guess, and it talked about the independent inquiry. There's a Catholic doctor that's a priest over there to call for an independent inquiry into a do not resuscitate notice for all COVID-19 patients with learning disabilities. If they get sick and they got learning disabilities and they got COVID, then they wouldn't let them in the ICU or anything. They just let them die because they had learning disabilities. I thought I'd tell y'all about that article. So I didn't think that was right. I offered a prayer for the people that were doing that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I posted this on Facebook.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's really, horrible things going on all over the place. And again, David, I just think it gets back to not only is there a neglect or a refusal to really understand and appreciate the dignity of the human person, but I think that the way people have been educated for a few generations now, at every level of education, it just shows that this has not been part of their learning and their formation, and thus we see, very, very unfortunate things happening like this. So, Debbie, I don't know if you got any thoughts on that for David. I had not heard about this story.
No, I want to look this up. You said it was in Catholic News Agency recently, David?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it says that they, it wasn't like they just one doctor was not doing it or something. They had this order they had put out. It directly stemmed from a referral algorithm that they had. It said that those with learning disabilities or autism with under 65 years old as being potentially frail and therefore not in line for ICU care. And that's their policy.
Yeah. And that's you said the
and
UK?
That's what you get with socialized. And if you go on to socialized medicine, which is what they have in the UK, then that's what you're going to get around here. I just want people to be aware of that.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's face it. We're in a world right now where the unborn, they're disregarded. I mean, it's like, no big deal that thousands are being murdered every day. No big deal, I guess. And then you've got folks with
Yeah.
disabilities, and the same thing. Let's just toss them away. They're what use are they, right? What value? And then you've got the seniors, and they've lived a good life. You know how many times I've heard that, David? They've lived a good life. What does that mean? They've lived a good life? I mean, who gets to decide how long somebody... I mean, this is really tragic. This is sad. And if we don't... I totally agree with our first caller, Lori. You know, we as Christians, all Christians, Catholics, but all denominations, we need to stay together and be one voice, that we're not going to tolerate this anymore. This is such a disrespect of God's creation. This is such a disrespect of the dignity of the human person, which is created in the image and likeness of God. This is horrible. Don't get me started. My blood pressure is already sky high, David, and it's only Monday. What do you think, Jerry?
Yeah, I was just perusing this article, by the way. Folks, please turn to resources like Catholic News Agency from EWTN. This doctor is actually also a priest. He was ordained in 2019 as a neurologist. And he thinks it's absolutely horrifying that this is going on. And he just says this wholesale attack, first on the elderly and now on the disabled, demands a full independent inquiry. He says, why have the vulnerable been targeted when they should be protected? And I think that last sentence right there pretty much sums up our cultural and societal mentality to a great extent. We no longer see the virtue and the absolute moral imperative to protect the vulnerable. We just don't.
Moral imperative. That's key. Absolutely. David, thank you for bringing that to our attention. We need to be aware of these things that are happening, so we can start praying for these things to change and to shift, but also to come together as one voice, as one Christian voice. So thank you, David. We appreciate the call today.
I want to mention real quickly before we take more calls, and we also have some other emails, that The Journey Home with Marcus Grodi is a fantastic show highlighting people who have come into or back into the Catholic Church. And tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, you do not want to miss this, folks. It's an amazing episode of the program with Deacon Charlie and his wife Jess Echeverry. Jess is a woman and family advocate and speaker. She survived parental divorce and alcoholism, emotional, physical, sexual abuse, dark times of physical and sexual violence, teenage pregnancy, years of on and off homelessness, abortion, same-sex attraction, and 2 attempts at suicide. God has a plan and a purpose for this woman's life, and Deacon Charlie came into her life. It was basically he who would help her create an environment of authentic love that enabled her healing journey, her relationship with Jesus Christ, and her eventual forgiveness and love for her attackers. She became Catholic in 2008. They are involved in a lot of different ministries. I want to really encourage you to check this out tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern on The Journey Home with Marcus Grodi on most of these same EWTN stations.
Okay, we're going to try to get to our last 3 callers. Richard is in North Dakota listening on AveMariaRadio.net. Hi, Richard. Thanks for waiting and welcome.
Hi. Thank you guys for the topic today. And I don't know if it's God's timing or what it is, but just last night we decided to watch a movie by the name of Peanut Butter Falcon. I don't know if you guys have heard of it.
No,
but,
never have.
I wouldn't call it necessarily a great movie to watch, but I think the content was pretty awesome. It's a movie about a young man who's actually trapped in a nursing home. The young man has Down syndrome, and he wants to get out, and he has this dream to become a wrestler. And I guess the goodness of it is, it really spoke to kind of like, I think, the struggle with what our society, what we do, I guess, with people who, not all people, obviously, but we tend to put people in nursing homes and maybe not care as much for the weak and the vulnerable. And I do think it's a tragedy what happened in New York, but I think on a daily basis, and even over the past 6 months, we've heard about Europe, specifically some of the Scandinavian countries, trying to eliminate children with Down syndrome. I know in South Dakota, the governor, Kristi Noem, actually introduced a law to protect Down syndrome babies from being aborted. But just not having that value and dignity of human life. And I feel, too, like in nursing homes, many times it's easy for us to think that they're being taken care of, or that, they're in a good place when, it might just be like some place that's, a location for them. They don't have love. They don't have, people surrounding them with what they need, except for maybe food and a shelter.
Right. Well, Richard, thanks for your call and for shedding some more light on this. I think the New York issue is just another symptom. It sounds like kind of what you're saying, too, of what is really a much larger issue. It's exacerbated often by even by family who often neglect the men and women in these certain facilities. But, again, the whole, I guess you might even call it a culture of death mentality. How many doctors urge their patients to abort children if they show any signs of having Down syndrome or any other physical difficulty or disability or whatever? So we've got ourselves a fight on our hands, and, our fight is done on our knees and no other way. That's really what's going to bring about, I think, change and positive, improvements. Debbie, what do you think?
I'm just going to say, God help all of us. I mean, if we're discussing this and we're getting upset internally, can you just imagine how God is feeling? I mean, this is horrible what we're doing. And unfortunately, even though some of us may be innocent, right? We're all going to be, probably punished along with the guilty, right? It's a tough situation. So yeah, prayer. We need a lot of prayer. Richard, anything else?
Not too much. I do think prayer is the right way, and I think, sometimes opportunities in our own lives when we're confronted with them. I think it's a challenge because it's easy for us to, maybe push someone to a nursing home or even, like that's not me or that's not for me. Like I've felt a few times on my heart that maybe adoption, there's plenty of kids in foster care too that have no one maybe to love them like they're needing. So it's a hard thing. Life is hard, but
right.
Yeah, it's just made a whole lot harder by some often heartless and not right-thinking people, and that doesn't. That's what's the saying? But for the grace of God, go I. I sometimes wonder, why is it that God has given me the grace to accept His grace, to be faithful as a Catholic, to be pro-life, to have strong feelings about these things when you have other people who are really at the opposite end of the spectrum. So it's not a triumphalistic thing at all. It's just really we need to pray for perseverance for ourselves, that we will not fall away, as the Bible says, and pray for those to come to God and come to faith and come to sanity in these issues who presently aren't at that place. So,
right. Thank you, Richard. Thank you so much for sharing with us today. Jerry, I know we only have 2 minutes left, and we got to read Helen's email, and Heather has a quick comment. Can we hear her comment real quickly?
Sure, yeah.
Heather, real quickly, we only got 2 minutes. Syracuse, New York, Sirius XM 130.
Seconds, actually.
We got 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Real quick, Heather.
Oh, geez. Real quick. Part of the reason that this whole nursing home thing is coming to light is the massive amount of prayer that was done to bring it to light. So I thank God as a practicing Catholic that they heard our prayers, and it's been a war of prayer that has brought this to light, and that's how we're going to beat it all.
Right, absolutely. And speaking of the governor of New York, wasn't he the one that lit up the World Trade Center after the aggressive abortion law that they signed and then they celebrated? So, I'll tell you, we need a lot of prayer, Jerry. We do.
We do. We are a praying family. Please pray for us, the show team. Thank you, affiliates, for carrying the program. Helen, you got a beautiful email. We'll try to see if we can get to that on another program. We apologize for that. Tomorrow, hey, folks, we're headed for Lent, if you can believe that. And we're going to talk to you tomorrow about your preparation. Are you feel you're prepared, you're ready? Make it a good, holy, blessed season in your life. We'll talk about that tomorrow here on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Until then, have a beautiful and blessed day. And this year, St. Joseph, pray for us this year and always, I should say.
Dr. Ray Guarendi avoiding all known forms of psychobabble. The doctor is in next on the EWTN Global